Oh, mine's come up as
recording. Yeah.
So I will pause.
Hi, everybody. My name is Abena Oppong-Asare. I'm the MP for Erith and Thamesmead. I see quite a number of familiar faces. Good to see you. This is a special an awareness event to raise awareness about ovarian cancer. It's an issue that is particularly important. It's a silent, deadly disease. And the reason that I'm holding this event is through a meeting that I had with a constituent of mine, Sue, who is going to be talking to us soon, who was diagnosed with ovarian cancer March 2017. And through Sue, we discussed the issues concerning ovarian cancer, about the fact that more could be done to raise awareness about this. And I've raised concerns about this in Parliament actually a few months before I met Sue. I'd raised this about what the government was doing in terms of addressing this issue to make sure more people were kind of tested. One thing that I've been particularly concerned about is during COVID, obviously things have been very difficult for people and hospital pressures have been stretched. But unfortunately, there are still concerns about people not being made aware of the fact that ovarian cancer can impact them. I don't want to spend the whole of this session talking at you. I think it's really important that we have real life stories, people talking about it. And we've got great panel speakers going to be speaking at this event. So I'm going to pass the baton over to Sue, who is going to talk now and talk about the importance of this issue. Over to you, Sue.
Thank you. Obviously, this is my story. I know it off by heart, but I've just got some notes, so I will be looking at my notes as I'm speaking. So I'm Sue. I'm 62. I know what you're thinking. I don't look it. I've got 2 children, 1 granddaughter and a grandson on the way. I've lived in Erith for 34 years, so quite some time. And I'm absolutely passionate about raising awareness of ovarian cancer. There is no screening for ovarian cancer. As all us ladies know, there's screening for breast, cervical and bowel cancers, and yet no screening programme for ovarian cancer. So my story. 6 months before I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, I had taken early retirement and I was looking to be a lady of leisure. It was late 2016, early 17. The symptoms are very subtle. I had some indigestion and I was struggling to eat. It felt like my food wasn't going down properly. I was feeling tired, but I thought I'd only just given up work, so I thought I was just winding down. I sleep on my front and it was getting uncomfortable to sleep on my front and I needed to pee more often, but I just thought that was my age. It was all very subtle and it really didn't ring any alarm bells. I even had trouble putting my tights on. I couldn't get my leg up and I thought, oh God, I'm really getting old. Anyway, one morning I was lying in bed and for some unknown reason, I don't even know why I did this, but I started to prod my tummy because I was been uncomfortable to sleep on my front, so I was prodding my tummy. And on the left-hand side, I felt a mass. I didn't panic. I didn't go into like a downward spiral. I didn't really think too much of it. I thought maybe it should be an organ that was there. I don't know what it was. Anyway, I decided to go to the doctor and she sent me for an ultrasound and some blood tests. The day after the ultrasound, I went back to the GP surgery, hadn't had the blood results yet. And I said I was scared it might be ovarian cancer. And she said, and I quote, absolutely not. Anyway, a couple of days later, I went back to the GP for my test results. And it's a blood test. And I would like any ladies listening to this now to write this down. It's called a CA125 blood test. And the benchmark for a CA125 is 35. So the reading 35, anything 35 or below, they don't panic. And my blood, I could see her literally my GP could see her face drain, and mine was reading 6,500. An absolute huge indicator for me, and to be honest, I think that test saved my life. So I was referred to Guy's Hospital in London. 2 weeks later, that CA125 was 8,250. So it was, you know, it was rising pretty quick. I think I was in shock at first. I felt guilty. I felt like I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want friends or family to know, really. I felt like I was doing something wrong. And I was panicking because I really didn't know very much about ovarian cancer. I tried to speak to some cancer charities, but they really wasn't very helpful and didn't get many answers. I didn't have at the time a clinical nurse specialist up at Guy's, and I was Googling and I found Target Ovarian Cancer, and I decided to give their helpline a call. I didn't know what to expect, but the nurse called me back. She was absolutely amazing. She explained what would happen with the chemo, what would happen in the surgery. She was obviously a specialist in her field, and I can't thank her enough. She was absolutely brilliant. I come off that phone call feeling so much better. Over the next few months, I had 3 lots of chemo and then a major, what they call debulking operation. And when they said to me I was going to have a hysterectomy, I said, well, that's easy enough. That's keyhole these days. No, it's not keyhole. It was I was actually in theatre for 5 hours. It's a major surgery. After that, I had another 3 rounds of chemo. So all in all, it was about 6 months of treatment, and then I was put on an immunotherapy trial. I think the worst part of the chemo was losing your hair. For a woman, it's your identity. And the nurse at Target had told me day 17 my hair would start falling out, bang on, day 17, in the shower, and it was literally coming out in handfuls. It was awful. My husband ended up shaving what was left off, and it was the worst thing ever. We just sat on the bedroom floor, and we just sobbed our hearts out. No one ever saw me without my hair. I had a wig. I bought a wig. I had bandanas, so I didn't want to shock the postman when he knocked on the door. Quickly had a bandana, so I could open the door with a bandana on for the poor postman. Hair eventually come back, very grey, but you know what? Grey's the new blonde. My message to other ladies out there is, don't let anything beat you. Enjoy your life. Don't let anybody tell you can't do something. You can. I met up with a wonderful group of ladies via the Target Ovarian Facebook page, and we were meeting every few months. We've got a WhatsApp group together, and we speak almost every day, and they've been a great support to me. I just want others to know that you can live with this. You just got to keep going. Don't get me wrong, you wouldn't be normal if you didn't feel down every now and again, but you just got to pull yourself up again and get going. The doctors made me better, so I can't sit around and do nothing. Saying that, COVID struck, so I've been sitting around doing nothing. But before that, I was just doing loads of stuff. 2019, believe it or not, I walked over the O2. I thought it was going to be a doddle, and it wasn't. It was hard. My friends and I went to Paris, and I went up to the Eiffel Tower. In fact, my brother phoned my husband and said, I can't get through to Sue, where is she? And he said, she's at the Eiffel Tower. I took part in the Guy's fashion show, so I just keep doing as much as I can, and I'm just hoping that you know, COVID will go, or will become more manageable. I had my jab last Friday, and then we can get on with our lives. So that's me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sue, for sharing your story. And particularly from our conversations, the positivity has always kind of shined through, and your sentiments about don't let this beat you and enjoy your life. And I think that's something that's a really important message for all of us in particular. The blood tests as well, about CA125, knowing about the benchmark at 35. That's something really useful. I didn't really know about that, so I've definitely learnt something from this session today. And I think we should also invite another inspiring speaker to speak, which is Della, who is passionate about raising awareness in the community about this, but I'm really excited to hear you share your story.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Sue, for getting me on, and Target Ovarian. Okay, so my story, I'll try to be as eloquent as Sue was, but my story started 2010. I was diagnosed with breast cancer almost 10, 11 years ago. And then when I heard the word cancer, I wasn't scared. I was thinking, oh, maybe they made a mistake because Black people don't do cancer. It's only white people, because I've never seen a Black person that had cancer. And I think my memories of cancer is Kylie Minogue. So all I see is white. So I don't associate me with cancer. So I was thinking, oh, even up to now, I think, oh, maybe they misdiagnosed me. Maybe it's not me. Anyway, so my campaign started from that, not knowing that, you know, anyone can get cancer, Black, white, anybody. So my first point of call was Macmillan. I said, all the leaflet I see is all about white people. I don't see me in your cancer. Anyway, and my cancer was a triple negative one. I had to have a mastectomy. With a mastectomy, you get your boobs chopped off. Fine, that's okay. But they didn't have a boob that matched my color. That's another thing that I brought out to attention, that everything is geared towards a white person. And when I actually challenged Macmillan, Macmillan said, oh, Black people hardly talk about it. And I'm like, you know what? I want to talk about it. And I didn't know why I took that on. Since then, anything cancer, everybody, even today, I had a phone call from Nigeria with someone who's been diagnosed with lung cancer. Because, you know, when it all happened, I really wanted everybody to know about cancer. I was even going through chemo. I wasn't well, but I wanted the world to know, look, you can survive cancer. It's okay, it's all right, you know, if they catch it early. Even the symptoms, I didn't know it was cancer. I was just thinking it happened to somebody else. It never happens to us. So that was breast cancer. So when 10 years later, I always go to Nigeria every October to raise awareness for breast cancer. So I was in Nigeria 2019, and all that summer, I had the same symptoms. I couldn't eat, I wasn't eating well, I was tired. And I didn't relate it to cancer because I don't know what symptoms, anything. I just wanted to go to the doctor for a quick fix, you know, maybe it's IBS, you know, I didn't even think of ovarian cancer. Anyway, I went to my doctor, and the first thing my doctor said is, maybe you're constipated, get some prune juice, which I've never drank prune juice. I don't even know what prune juice is. I went again, another doctor said, buy Gaviscon, which I did. And I think it was on the third count that I had to go back. And then another doctor said, you need to go and do a blood test. And I think it was the blood test that revealed it could be ovarian cancer, the CA125. But then I didn't know anything. But even sometimes the medics don't know how to break this bad news to you. And I was like, what is it? Is it cancer? Is it cancer? Tell me, tell me. I wasn't even thinking cancer. I was thinking it's a minor thing. Oh, you know, if cancer is going to come back, it will be breast cancer because I've already had one. Anyway, we did all that. They said, yes, you've got ovarian cancer. And again, in my community, you don't want to talk because it's like, hey, it's voodoo. Somebody has done you. You had breast, you had ovarian cancer. What next? You know, so I had that stigma like, oh gosh, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to tell anybody. But one thing just said, you know what, just say it. Then I started talking and people were saying, oh, we thought the other cancer came back. So is this a new cancer? You know, I'm like, yes, it's a new cancer. It's called ovarian cancer. And I think when I was diagnosed, I was told to do this gene test that found out that I'm a BRCA2 gene mutation that I don't know anything about again. And I still want to educate people in my community about that. So that's why I'm still on tablet, on medication. And I'm still up to today, just raising that awareness. I think I've gone past raising awareness. I'm now into research that, you know, we need people like me to be involved in research, like clinical trials and other things. Because I was looking at everybody and I don't know how I can explain that my tablets make me go dark, more dark than I could be, but nobody would understand that. She's Black, you know, you can't go blacker than that. But these are the side effects of the chemo treatment. So, but there's still more to do, but the awareness is out there. Check your CA1, just keep persisting, keep going back to the doctor. I was tired, even on chemo last March, I said, I want to go to Dubai, and Dubai was the last place I went for my holiday, because I said, I need a break, you know, I just need to go somewhere. So I'm glad, as soon as we came back from Dubai, we all went into lockdown. So anyway, that's my story, but I think people are listening and people are talking about it now, but the stigma, we're trying to erase it out. especially in our community. So we're getting there. So that's my story.
Thank you, Della, for sharing your story about the issues regarding the stigma and trying to get the information out there. And also about the challenges as well in terms of doctors also recognising and diagnosing you. It seems it took you quite a while, took them quite a while before they established what it was, the symptoms of what you were going through. So I think that's also another area where awareness needs to be raised as well. I also wanted to introduce Lizzy, who works over in who works at Target, who do a lot of work raising awareness with people with ovarian cancer, and wanted you to speak about the work you are doing and also things that we need to be aware of as well. So over to you.
Thank you. I'm just going to take a minute and get a presentation up, so give me 1 second. Can everybody see that okay? Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I am Lizzy Rogers. I'm Deputy Director of Services here at Target Ovarian Cancer. So just to tell you a little bit more about what Target Ovarian Cancer does, we're the UK's leading ovarian cancer charity, and we work across the whole of the UK to improve early diagnosis, fund life-saving research, and also provide much needed support to women with ovarian cancer. So today I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about ovarian cancer and why it's so important that we're all aware of the symptoms, as Sue and Della have already alluded to, and also feel confident speaking to our doctors about any concerns that we have. So thousands of women unfortunately lose their lives to ovarian cancer every year, and it's the 6th most common type of cancer in women in the UK. But we know that the earlier that ovarian cancer is caught, the easier it is to treat. So if diagnosed at the earliest stage before the cancer has spread, 9 in 10 women will survive. But currently 2/3 of women are diagnosed late when the cancer is harder to treat. So if we could catch more ovarian cancers earlier, we could save the lives of many more women. Unfortunately, as Sue already mentioned, there's not a screening programme for ovarian cancer at the moment. Researchers are working on it, but we don't currently have tests that are of the sufficient quality for population level screening to work effectively at the moment. So for now, to find it earlier, there are some things that we can do. So that includes making sure that everybody knows the symptoms, that they get to their doctor as early as possible. We need to make sure that GPs are aware of the symptoms and ensure access to the right tests at the right time. And we need to develop better tests as well. So Target Ovarian Cancer is working on all of these fronts, but today I'm going to mostly focus on symptoms awareness and how you can join us to campaign for change. So we know that there are quite a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings around ovarian cancer. For example, persistent bloating is a really key symptom of ovarian cancer that everybody needs to look out for, but just 1 in 5 women in the UK can name bloating as a symptom of ovarian cancer. And also 1 in 3 women mistakenly think that a smear test, so cervical screening, would detect ovarian cancer. So we know that there's a bit of a crisis of awareness, and that's why one of our key aims is to get out there with the symptoms of ovarian cancer and make sure everybody is aware of them and is talking about them. So what should individuals look out for? There are 4 key symptoms of ovarian cancer. So these are persistent bloating, so a bloated tummy, feeling full really quickly, or loss of appetite. Tummy pain, so pelvic or abdominal pain that's in your tummy or below, and urinary symptoms, so that's needing to wee more urgently or more often than usual. Occasionally there are some other symptoms as well, so you might want to look out for changes in bowel habits, so that might be diarrhea or constipation, extreme fatigue, so feeling very tired, and unexplained weight loss. Part of the reason that ovarian cancer can be really hard to spot is that these are symptoms that many people experience from time to time, and they can be caused by lots of different and less serious health conditions, so they're really easy to dismiss. So what we'd say is if you're experiencing these kind of symptoms, think about how frequent they are. So are they happening more than 12 times a month or on more than 12 days? That's just a rule of thumb that you can go by. Are they persistent? So do they stay up? So with bloating, for example, some ladies tell us that they look like they're pregnant, and it's a kind of bloating that goes up, not a bloating that goes up and down after a large meal, for example. And are they new? So have they kind of appeared and persisted? They might have started in the last year, for example. So if you're worried about any symptoms, it's really important that you contact your GP. And despite the pandemic, GPs are still in action, and you will still be able to get an appointment, even if that's on the phone in the first instance. So if you do have a kind of video or phone call with your GP, it's important that you're really clear about your symptoms. So mention ovarian cancer specifically, and it might also be helpful to track your symptoms in advance, but don't use that as an excuse to delay going to the doctor because you're waiting to track your symptoms. You're considered to have an increased risk of ovarian cancer if 2 or more relatives in your family have had a breast or ovarian cancer. So do mention that to your doctor if it's relevant. So you might wonder if you're particularly at risk of ovarian cancer, and there are some characteristics that you might have that mean that you're more likely to develop it than somebody else. So the key one is age. So a large majority of ovarian cancers happen in women who are over 50. But younger women do also get ovarian cancer. So it's important that everybody is aware of the symptoms. Family history is also something that might increase your risk. So if you have a mutation or a change on particular genes, known as the BRCA1 or BRCA2, so you might also hear that called BRCA, that can increase your risk of developing ovarian or breast cancer. It doesn't mean you will definitely develop it, but your risk is much higher. So if you have that in the family and you have any concerns, do please discuss that with your doctor. So if your symptoms are frequent and persistent, your GP should order the CA125 blood test, which checks a level of a protein called CA125 in your blood. And they may also order an ultrasound scan of your tummy and ovaries. So we encourage you to be persistent. So even if those tests come back clear, if you're still continuing to see symptoms, it's really important that you go back to your GP or speak to a healthcare professional, because even if your symptoms aren't caused by ovarian cancer, if you're having persistent, frequent symptoms, it's important that you get to the bottom of things and rule things out. So just a few things to remember and that I hope you take away. So your smear test will not detect ovarian cancer. The symptoms of ovarian cancer aren't a checklist, so you might experience 1 or 2 symptoms. You don't have to have all of them. Symptoms at the start may not seem unusual or serious, so the best way is just to go along and get it checked out. And if you're worried, a really good thing to do is write down any symptoms in a diary. And we just encourage everybody to trust their instincts. So you know your body best, so do go along and get checked out if you have concerns at all. If you do have any concerns or would like any more information, our website covers all aspects of ovarian cancer risk, treatment and care. And we've got lots of information about symptoms, tests and diagnosis on our website, which is targetovariancancer.org.uk. Our support line is also available and here for anyone affected by ovarian cancer. So that if you're affected by symptoms, if you're concerned about your risk, if you're a family member or friend, or you're supporting somebody living with ovarian cancer. My colleague Rachel runs our support line with our colleague Val. They're both nurses with a long background in clinical practice, and they're always pleased to have a chat with you, whatever your concerns are. So, and the information of how to get in touch with us, again, is on our website. So beyond making sure everybody knows the symptoms to look out for, we also lobby for national awareness campaigns and work to get our awareness materials out where people can see them, online and in real life. So we also think it's essential that GPs are trained to spot ovarian cancer symptoms at the earliest opportunity and are able to either diagnose or rule it out quickly. So we present at GP training days, give out GP toolkits and offer an online training module for GPs. to update their knowledge on early diagnosis for ovarian cancer. And we've recently developed information for GPs on hereditary ovarian cancer to help develop their understanding of this area. I'm afraid my presentation appears to have taken on a life of its own, so let's just pop back a little bit. So in terms of our campaigning work, by demanding action through our key campaigns, we hope to make life better for women with ovarian cancer and for those at risk and less likely or yet to be diagnosed. So at the moment, we're working on 4 key areas. So we're calling on the government to make sure that the diagnosis, treatment and support are returned to pre-pandemic levels as quickly as possible. We want to improve and streamline the process that women go through to get a diagnosis of ovarian cancer, so they get that sooner when it's more treatable. We want to improve access to ovarian cancer drugs so that every woman has the best treatment opportunities available to her, no matter where she lives. And we also think that as many of us as possible need to get involved and tell decision makers that we think things should be different for people affected by ovarian cancer. So if you're interested in helping us in our work, you can do this in a couple of ways. The first is to help us raise awareness of the symptoms of ovarian cancer on social media and across your local area in a safe, pandemic appropriate way. So everything you need is on our online campaigning toolkit, and Ryan will be putting a link to this in the chat on this Zoom call. You can also sign up to be a Target Ovarian Cancer campaigner, and you will hear about the latest campaigning opportunities and updates on our work for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, which is coming up in March. So I'll leave that there, and I think we have a little chance for questions perhaps, but I'll hand back to Abena. Thank you.
That's really helpful and really informative about the work that you're doing and how people can get involved in this, particularly in raising awareness on this. I just wanted to kind of say that in terms of this event has been really informative, and it's obviously really concerning to hear about the stats in terms of the fact that 11 women in the UK every single day that it kills that amount, and we're amongst the worst in Europe, which means I think more work needs to be done in terms of investing to make sure that the diagnosis, there is early diagnosis of ovarian cancer, because as mentioned, it saves lives. It's obviously concerning to hear of stories where it's taken quite a while for the diagnosis to take place, and I think that is a good recommendation from Kate Heaps about working with GPs, particularly to kind of increase their awareness, and particularly during this pandemic where we've seen a huge drastic impact on the urgent referrals for those with suspected cancer from GPs. Was quite alarmed when I was sent stats in Erith and Thamesmead, which showed between 2015 and 2017, there were around 90 women were diagnosed with cancer, and that only 37% were diagnosed early at stage 1 or 2, and that 45 women died of ovarian cancer. So that means there is still a long way to go, and hopefully this event, particularly in Erith and Thamesmead, is a start of a conversation in terms of raising that kind of awareness. I'm sure most of you know this, but just in case you don't, March is the time when Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month takes place, and Target in particular, Target Ovarian Cancer, we've been working really hard to raise the awareness of this. If any of you are on social media, please do follow Target Ovarian Cancer on Twitter and help amplify their voices on social media. And next month is a particularly big month to kind of raise awareness in terms of about this, because at the moment there is no effective screening tool for individuals for ovarian cancer, which is part of the reason I think why it affects the diagnosis in terms of reaching early diagnosis of this particular issue. I want to also say that I know it probably wasn't easy. It was important for Sue and Della to share their personal stories. And I think that their work is an inspiration to many people, particularly with the fact of what they've gone through. and which must have not been quite easy, but to use it as an opportunity to be a Target Ovarian Cancer campaigner, to raise awareness of this. As Lizzy mentioned earlier, there is an online campaign kit, which I think Ryan's put in the chat. Please share that around, and also the information that Lizzy mentioned about making sure that if those people, if you're worried about this, make sure you see your GP, and you know, keep being persistent in terms of raising this. So thank you everybody for this, and I don't know if Ovarian Target Cancer wants to add anything to this, or if Sue or Della want to have any last lines, because I think your words are really powerful.
I think I will just say thank you to Target Ovarian, because they really, and you know, you meet friends, you meet other people, and then you know you're not alone. You know, it's just nice. It's just that being on your own, and especially coming from my community, nobody wants to know. So it's just, we all become like a family, and they've really helped me out this time round.
Yes,
so I thank them for that. Thank you.
and I would echo that. They are, you know, they've been really, really helpful to me, and you know, I'll do all I can to support Target.
Okay, thank you for that. I think Sam, who's hiding in the background, has asked if it's okay to take a photo. We should also put this on social media as well to highlight this. Okay. For those that don't want to be in the photo, you might want to switch your camera off, but I'm assuming everyone's comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know if Sam's taken the picture.
Say cheese,
Oh,
I guess.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Really nice to meet you. And if there's anything else I can do to support, I'll be happy to do that. Happy to ask questions as well again next March, next month, particularly on this, to raise awareness of it. Okay.
Brilliant.